Welcome back, everybody. This is the Resistance Broadcast. If you're listening to this, you are part of the Resistance. If you're new to the Resistance Broadcast, welcome. Whether you're watching on YouTube, hello out there, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, whatever platform you're on, welcome. And we have a great show today. My name is John Hoey. Thank you again for joining us. A lot of D23 stuff that came out. We talked a little bit about it on Monday, but we finally got to watch the same time as you guys who didn't go to D23, the footage that they released for the Rise of Skywalker. So that's what we're going to focus on today in our discussion. But of course, we have the Will of the Force, which is back. One thing that's not back is James Baney, because he is on location at Batuu, representing the Resistance. So we are a little jealous of him, I guess. But joining me as always, you have Stormtroopers, you got Sith Troopers, you got Death Troopers, Sand Troopers, all the troopers. But we have a trooper right here because she's a little under the weather. But she's still podcasting with us because you don't want just me here, guys. Trust me. Lacey Gillerin, how's it going? Welcome back. How fired up are you that we're going to talk about all that awesome Episode 9 footage we saw?
I'm super excited. I'm so glad that we have things to talk about. Hi, guys.
Real things.
John pitched a one-man show to me, and I said, no way, Jose.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah.
Nope. So I'm here.
No. Yes. I came this close. That close. So much more hat would have been in your screen. But no, not today. So, Lacey, I think we should still do Will of the Force, even though James is not here.
You asked the questions.
You want me to ask the questions?
Yes.
All right, guys. Will of the Force is back. So let's send it to Mr. Chirrut Imwe so he could send it back to me.
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
There he was. Right there. All right. Okay, so Lacey, let's do this right now. Will there be a nod to Alec Guinness somehow, some way, even subtle or not, in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series?
Well, I think, yes, there will. There has to be. I think that hello there is kind of a nod to him. So I'm sure we'll see that at some point. Unfortunately, I know people really love that phrase, but it's become like such a joke now that like, I don't know how I would react if I actually saw it again. I'm sure I'd love it, but yeah, right now I'm just kind of just like, okay. Yeah. What do you think, John?
Well, with the hello there thing, the only thing that I hate being negative about stuff like that because I know people like it, but it's just like everyone, it's the go-to for Kenobi, and it's just he's such a important and fleshed out character in Star Wars that we like belittle him down to those two words sometimes, and I'm like, all right, come on. But yeah, I think they will. I'm not sure exactly how they're gonna do it. Maybe it'd be cool if they had like a bartender named Alec, or like something where you can just say like, like there's the nod to, because they did it subtly visually in like Man of Steel to Christopher Reeve in like one frame. They like put his face in, and like they do that to the people who like were the first to play a character. So I'd like to think they'll do it in some way. I mean, they did it in The Force Awakens by including him in that sentence, right, where he says Rey. Yeah, that was him. So I think it'd be cool. So I'm gonna say yes, they will. So 2 for 2, not bad. I wonder what James would have said on that. I guess he can give us his feedback.
Well, James hates Kenobi, so he
doesn't hate
be like,
Kenobi.
I'm skipping this question.
He just doesn't want the series, and then he's gonna watch it and be like, "This was awesome." His little James Baney bangs. What
is he, Justin Bieber now? What was that?
Okay, the next one is a Patreon submission from one of your favorite names to say, Commander Mark at Decline of Vacants.
Decline of Vacants.
And Commander Mark, who hails from Hawaii,
Taurus Pizza,
had to say, Taurus Pizza, had to say, will there be a reveal that the Mandalorian actually has a wife and kids? So I'll take this one first, and I'm going to say no. Just because I feel like that may complicate things a bit too much, and I don't know where they want to go with the story. But I mean, it certainly is possible. Like, it made me think of, you ever seen Mad Men?
No. I know of it, but I've never seen
I
it.
mean, in the very first episode of the show, you see this guy and he's a hotshot head exec and he's out drinking.
John Hamm.
Yeah, he's out drinking late at night and he goes and sees his girlfriend and they have the night together and then all of a sudden the next day he's back at work and he's like, oh wow, here's a swinging bachelor ad man, and then at the very end of the episode he goes home to his normal family in the suburbs. So it's like it makes me think of like the Mandalorian, like he could be doing all this stuff and then he's like, hey honey, I'm home, puts his helmet on the coat rack.
Oh, no.
Like, no, but I don't think so. What do you think?
I don't think they're going to do that, at least in season 1. I think season 1, they're going to set him up as this loner that you don't really know a lot about. I mean, in all the stuff we've seen, he doesn't really talk much. He said like one line. He's very mysterious. I think they're going to set up the world and the characters around him. And I think season 2 is where they're going to dive into who he is. They might give it like little bits and pieces here and there in season 1, but I think the focus isn't going to be on his backstory. It's going to be him as an individual first. And then they could go into backstory later. So no, I don't think they will.
Yeah, I like that. I'm kind of afraid, like, I don't want them to do the whole like Punisher thing where it's like or the Gladiator, like I had a wife and kid and they got killed and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, it's Punisher. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that so much and I like that. Like I like revenge stories.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to see that again and in this realm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess. I mean, I like your idea though that season 2 maybe they can kick the door open and introduce more backstory stuff. So,
right.
Which they're already doing pre-production for, so that's pretty cool.
Nuts.
Yeah.
So nuts.
All right, next one. Will Rey's red double-bladed hinged lightsaber that we saw in the footage that we'll talk about later be sold as a toy or collectible with retailers? So what do you think? You're a big collectible person. You like your lightsabers. You have your Force effects lightsabers. What do you think?
I think the first thing I thought when that clip came up was, oh, I can't wait to see the toys for this, because they're going to sell toys because it's money and it's merchandising and Disney loves money and merchandising. So why wouldn't they make a Dark Rey toy? Like, because as much as we talk about on the show about how Rey is the hero of the trilogy and, little girls look up to her and stuff like that, they also think it's cool sometimes when it's a bad guy. Like little kids love Kylo Ren, so this could be no different. And again, it's just another toy that they're going to make. But hey, if we go to New York Comic Con, maybe we can ask Hasbro if we interview them. Hey, are you going to make a Dark Rey toy?
And I wonder, do you think they'll make like a full-size lightsaber of that lightsaber?
The hinged lightsaber. Yeah. I would want them to, because I would totally buy it. I don't know if they would immediately. That might be something that comes down the road, because it's taken some time for them to get other things in place. But at the same time, they had the weapon that the Stormtrooper uses to attack Finn in The Force Awakens.
Right.
They just made that last year, and that's a hinged spring action toy. So I could see it coming down the road, but probably not to begin with.
Yeah, I just know I was joking with Robbie Fox of Barstool about I guess we're gonna duel each other at in Anaheim. We kind of
you are?
that. Yeah, so we gotta start training. But that if they made that thing, the hinge would snap right off. Like when you release it, I just feel like that thing would swing down and pop, snap off.
Yeah, a lot of the props that they make in movies aren't necessarily like ready for battle. They're just for looks. Yeah, and some of them say like you can clang them together, but it's like you got to be careful with those things, especially the ones that are like a couple $100.
Like I'm not gonna go to Galaxy's Edge and spend $250 on a lightsaber and then go banging it around and fighting with people. Like
probably not.
It's going on the wall. So yeah, I think they will do it though. Like you say, they love merch. So all right, next one, Patreon submission, Evan Harris. Thank you, Evan. He said, will we see Kylo? Oh, no. We see Kylo wearing his mask in the posters, but never in any footage thus far. So will we see his mask break during the fight with Rey on the Death Star wreckage? You go first.
This question's tricky because all the posters and everything have him in it because it's easier to show him in marketing as the bad guy than to show Adam Driver, because once he takes the helmet off, you kind of connect with him more. Whereas when he has the helmet on, you're like, that's a bad guy.
Yep.
But then on the poster that they released at D23, he has the helmet on and he's fighting Rey on the Death Star. But then in the footage they released, he's not wearing the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So will he destroy the helmet on the Death Star? I think that he will destroy the helmet prior to that fight. Because
You
when he's getting...
He's going to destroy it?
Yeah, I think he's going to destroy it, or someone else is gonna destroy it.
Lacey's laughing because if you're not watching on YouTube, I muted my mic and just had a violent sneeze. So you didn't hear it, but she saw it. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw it. Okay.
I don't. It's so tricky. This is one of those questions that I can't fathom what the actual answer is, because it is so puzzling to me. That I get that he rebuilt it because he needs to put it back on to be the bad guy, and it looks cool in marketing. And his helmet.
You know who does know?
Hey Bob.
Hey Lacey.
It's a tricky question, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good question. Well done. Will he destroy it? It's specifically in that fight.
All right. So yeah, he asked, will it break during the fight with Rey on the Death Star? I don't think so. I think the poster is just the poster, and they wanted it to look cool, and it distinguishes him if you put him in the mask right there. I don't think we've ever seen Kylo Ren fight with lightsaber duel with his mask on. So I think that would be kind of cool to see. Hear his voice through the mask as he's fighting with it.
Oh yeah, we haven't.
Yeah, because on Starkiller Base he was without it, and when he fought Luke, he didn't have it, and when he was doing the thing with the Praetorian Guards, he didn't have it. So I think we need a little masked Kylo Ren lightsaber duel. So I hope they duel at least more than once, and I hope one of them is with a mask. But I don't think it's breaking during that fight on the Death Star, though that'd be cool. It was a good question, though, Evan. You got me thinking, that's for sure.
Right.
All right. The next one and the last one, Lacey.
Mm-hmm.
We know C-3PO is set to have a considerable role in the Rise of Skywalker. Anthony Daniels is obviously very excited about this.
Right.
So for the other three main droids, who will have the most screen time? And I know we joke on this podcast, where is R2, right? So BB-8, R2-D2, or D-O, which one is going to be on screen the most out of those three?
BB-8, because JJ invented BB-8. He's Poe's buddy, so he's going to be with Poe. He's going to do some wacky thing to save them at some point, like R2 used to do. I think it's going to be BB-8.
I think you're probably right. I just wish it was R2. Just the last one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna have to go with BB-8 also. Mm-hmm. But damn it, I wish it was R2.
Where is R2?
Where is R2? We're gonna talk about that in after our next segment. But Lacey, the Will of the Force is done. Yes. But we have something special we do, and you're gonna say what that is right now.
Yeah, so right now we're going to go into the Patreon pod race. This is a segment that we brought up once we started our Patreon page, which you can find at patreon.com/resistancebroadcast. And we let you guys be a part of the show. So our general, Neil Lowry, our general of positivity from the UK, it's his turn this week, and we asked him, who does he want to see show up in the Kenobi series? Ooh. So Neil, take it away.
Hello, Resistance Broadcast. General Neil here. Characters I like to have for the Obi-Wan series. Probably the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn. The cameos or intermittently appearances from Aunt Beru and Owen Lars. I'd like to see the what drove Owen to be antagonistic towards Ben in A New Hope. Hopefully we can see the first seeds of that. Maybe Ben going into the cantina and just having a scat around and maybe opening up an unlimited bar tab for himself. Probably some run-ins with some Tusken Raiders or something. I think unless Obi-Wan goes off-world in this series, I think characters he will meet or stuff he will do is probably limited to what I just said. So, but I don't know how they will branch it out. And but that's my thoughts on Obi-Wan. Keep up the great work, and may the Force be with you.
Nicely done, Neil. John, what do you think?
I like Neil because he could honestly say anything, and I'd be like, that just makes me feel good about it. So, Neil, I know I like what you had to say. It made sense. Bring back all these types of characters in the Kenobi series, and then even branching out and thinking about people who are in that timeline that maybe could also come back that don't necessarily interact with Kenobi. Like we could pan somewhere else and go somewhere else. So the options are limitless, and I felt like that's kind of what you were hitting at there, Neil, and mainly that you're excited about the show and that sort of thing. And always, as always, thank you for your nice greetings at the beginning and end of your videos. So once again, Neil, you did a great job, and thank you so much, man, for your support. And we'll obviously see you out there on Twitter and, of course, your next pod race.
Neil, thank you so much. You did such a good job. Thanks for keeping it positive per usual. I liked how you said that Obi-Wan would go to the bar and open an unlimited tab. Like, how do I get an unlimited tab? I would like to know. That's my question for next week. But you did a great job, and I agree that there's so many possibilities depending on if he stays on Tatooine or goes off Tatooine.
Yep.
But yeah, you did a great job. Now we're gonna go to John, who's gonna bring it into the discussion.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
Okay, guys, the Rise of Skywalker D23 footage. It came, it went, and now it is our time to talk about it here. So basically, from that desert-looking party all the way to Dark Rey, we're going to jump into it because it's probably the last bit of footage we're going to see for this until a full trailer in October. So we got to get our fill here. So Lacey, why don't you start by explaining where this thing starts off? And I don't really care about the first minute, like the montage of the first,
You don't care, John?
No, I do, but I want to get into the minute of.
You don't care about it?
Oh, Luke looking at the twin sons. What year is this? Come on. Yes, I love that, but I want to get into the new stuff. So where's the new stuff? It's the group looking with the Falcon behind them, and they're allegedly on Pisana, right?
Yep, they come up over the hill and it's Pisana, and then that's where we see the footage, which we talked about on Monday a little bit from the descriptions people had, which was a big kind of festival street thing. It kind of looks like Burning Man or Coachella.
Yeah, and R2's not there.
R2 is not there. And it has the chalk smoke in the air like we talked about with Thor Ragnarok. That's where we start off. So what do you think? Are they going to party? What's the deal?
Yeah, so this, I remember when they footage was leaked out from people who were at Wadi Rum, they saw like these stand-ups of these character stand-ins, and it looks like what type of species or whatever is going to be there at this location. So I'm very curious to see what that is. I don't know if it's like they're crashing this celebration and they're trying to look for something or what's going on, because everything else we saw around this planet looks like it's warfare, with the troopers chasing the speeders, with Rey on the desert, with Kylo Ren and the TIE fighter coming at her. And like, so where does this fit in where they just pop over here and they're like people shooting off confetti? So I honestly don't know what's going on here. It doesn't look like it's an aggressive situation. The one thing it does remind me of visually is when Obi-Wan, C-3PO, and Luke are overlooking Mos Eisley, and it's just like, there's
Finn looking over.
Yeah, when he's on Jakku.
Jakku.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things. Like, okay, there's that, and this is maybe like one of them. Poe knows them, and they're like, these are these types of people, and you have to, this is how you have to get around, and this is their type of greeting, and Chewie will like grunt or something, like one of those things. But I don't know, it's a cool shot, colorful. Looks like a bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
We discussed this a little bit on Monday, but do you think that's where they're going to see Lando for the first time?
Oh, you think like Lando's like partying there or something?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I feel like either James mentioned it or one of you mentioned it, that maybe that's where they're going to find Lando, or that's where they have to go find something.
Oh, it wasn't me. It must have been James then.
Because the weird thing is that in the Vanity Fair images that were released and some of the panel images, Rey is wearing a very specific necklace in those desert scenes that she doesn't start off with in that first shot.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that they had to go there for something.
Is it a Crimson Dawn necklace?
Oh, I don't know. Could it be? I don't know. I think it's just going to be really fun to watch, because you're probably going to see a ton of creatures and puppets and people in makeup and stuff like that.
Like a lot of like little like oh, what is that? What is that? Look at that. That type of thing. I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a scene that every time you watch it, you find something new.
Yeah, definitely. And who knows at what point that takes place in the movie, because I don't know where they're going. I think that the jungle thing is the beginning. I think.
Me too.
I think JJ said that still that they showed at Celebration when she has the stick, it's not her staff. He said this is at the beginning of the movie, and then they showed that shot, not to get away from this footage, but to try to put things together, of them standing in front of the Falcon on the jungle planet. They're probably all getting together to go to what.
And that's
maybe
where she sees Leia. So Leia's at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if Leia's just at the beginning of the movie. Like, I don't know. Interesting, but
maybe. Which then leads us into the next shot, which is Leia, which is pretty much the shot we still have seen. Like we've seen her back, we've seen the front, we've seen this shot a couple times. This was a little like longer, but it's still pretty much the same shot. And
it's we did a report on this a couple of months back on Star Wars Newsnet about how they're also going to be using existing shots that were in The Force Awakens and reusing them, repurposing them. And this is one of those shots. And it looks great. It looks like she was there. And her brother Todd Fisher when Clayton Sandell came on our podcast, and he was like, you're going to feel like she was there and like she was filming and had filmed this movie. They're not kidding. Like, if this one shot of her is any indication of how she's going to be implemented into this movie, we're going to forget immediately that she died before this movie was produced.
It's definitely going to be an emotional experience watching her on screen, knowing she's not here anymore. It's going to be very sad. And also that she doesn't get to see the final movie.
Like, she doesn't see how this Skywalker story ends. Like, that's sad to me. Because I'm sure she got to see The Last Jedi or cuts of it or something, right?
Probably, because she passed away in December, so.
She passed away December the year before, though. Right?
Oh, yeah. She probably saw something about it.
Yeah. So that's sad, though. So it's
moving away from sad.
Moving away from sad, yeah.
The next shot is the ships, the resistance ships that are coming out of hyperspace.
Right.
It looks like they're the X-wings and all the different wings.
Y-wings, B-wings, I think maybe an A-wing, and something that a lot of people are circling that looks like a YT freighter, but it's not the Millennium Falcon.
It's not, yeah.
Yeah, so people are curious about that. I heard some people theorizing that maybe that's what Finn is on, but I don't know. And then I think we see like one of the Corvettes, like the Tantive 4 in the mix. So I think they're
bringing... Which could be the one that they show. Yes,
that could be the one that they showed at Celebration. They're bringing up all the old stuff. The only thing I haven't seen yet, though, is the T-65 X-Wings with the full engines that like the old X-Wing fighters used to. I need to see that, so maybe they're safe. I don't know. But wasn't there a leak or a rumor, a set rumor that someone saw an old T-65 at one of the locations? And they're like, that's one of the old X-Wings or something like that?
No, I think the only X-Wing we saw from like leaked photos where it looked like a Poe's X-Wing, like a black one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
what do you think about that? Do you think the team's all coming together?
I think so. I think it's going to be one of those situations where JJ smoothly implements fan service with a need for it in the narrative. In other words, like, he can use big moments to bring in a lot of things and go full circle instead of like having to keep peppering things. Here's a big shot where you're going to get all these ships you remember, and I don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but here it is. Right. I think that's that type of thing. And also like a rallying cry. Maybe people who've been out of the game since the Empire fell finally are like, you know what? I'm old. My ship still works. I'm getting back in the fight. That type of thing. Maybe that's where we get like a Wedge Antilles or something like that. Those, like, that shot just is triggering that type of like rallying cry type of thing to me.
Yeah, because we talked about it a couple months ago, and I compared it to Ready Player One, where at the end he's like, "Let's all get together and join together."
Yeah,
and they all show up. Yeah. No, that's going to be a really cool moment. And then on the other side, we have Imperial ships. Now, guys, we talked about this on Monday a little bit from what we heard from the footage from D23. And at first, a lot of people thought they were first order ships that were kind of floating in space with the lightning and the craziness around them. It doesn't look like first order to me. John, what do you think? Do you think they're first order ships?
These, and I agree, these look like Imperial Star Destroyers. This looks right out of Empire Strikes Back to me. Times a billion, though. I'm curious to see where the line ends, because it gets like an old Bob Ross painting. It goes from like dark midnight blue to black, and the shadows keep going.
Right.
So is this the Palpatine, hidden fleet that we joked about, that's in the, unknown regions for 30 years or whatever? These are old ships.
Are they just idling there? That's my question. Like, what's the deal? Are they just like there?
I feel like it's like when a Navy assault happens and it looks like it's slow, but they're just coming full speed towards you type of thing. And I heard a few theories, because I try to put my ear to the ground and see what other people are saying.
Yeah, I've heard two things.
I heard people say, like, well, what if this is the good guys and they found these ships and they're using them? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Because you don't show all those good guy looking ships and then show this, and it's like, well, then what are the bad guys using? And I'm sorry for saying good guy, bad guy, but Star Wars is simple sometimes, guys, okay? It's easier.
Which then goes into the shot of Finn and Jannah kind of looking at it, but you don't know if they're actually looking at that. They just cut it together.
Yeah, who the heck knows? But
yeah,
what's your take on the Star Destroyers, though?
I think they've been hidden away, and they're coming across them, or they're coming out of hyperspace after being gone for a long time.
Do you think it's something the First Order picked up as extra reinforcements, or do you think it's a Palpatine thing?
I think this is one of those plot lines that's going to be a surprise to both sides. Like, the First Order didn't know about it.
It's
and
Thrawn?
Then like, well, so that's the thing. That's the other thing people are throwing around. I keep saying thing. That's the other theory that I've seen thrown around, is that Thrawn is going to show up.
Oh, people are actually saying that? I was kidding around.
No, people are actually saying that.
Oh, man.
John, do you think Thrawn is going to show up?
No.
Well, why not, John?
I just don't.
He's with Ezra. There's space whales.
He hasn't crossed over to live action. I know they did the Pierce Brosnan looking thing.
What if it is Pierce Brosnan?
Then I honestly, it would take me out of the movie and bring me right back to Celebration, where we were all laughing about that. That's Pierce Brosnan on the mural. So, I don't know. It's just the thing about Thrawn. I don't try to like burst people's bubbles, but I really do separate my brain from the movies and other live action with novels, animated, and all that stuff. And I know James thinks as everything is the same equal canon. I just don't see it that way. And I don't know if you're, regular Star Wars fan. I'm not even going to say you're a casual Star Wars fan, because that's disrespectful to them. You're a regular Star Wars fan who's not nuts like we are, you are, listening out there and watching. They're going to be like, who's that?
Yeah.
Like, why is an Avatar character in a Star Wars movie? Like, they will ask those questions. And then, so I just don't know. And do you need another character of that grand position entered into this? We already have the new guy, Pride. We still have Hux, Kylo Ren, Palpatine, and then all of our good guys. I just don't think he would fit in. So I'm not buying that one. What do you think?
I don't think Thrawn's going to show up. I think it's too confusing. We've said this before, like making that jump to live action is just confusing to anybody outside of our bubble of diehard fans. But I think it's also important to remember that a lot of people, and myself included, sometimes don't know the names of all the different ships, but I know the difference between First Order ships and Imperial ships. Yep. The normal, everyday Star Wars fan does not. So I guarantee they saw these ships and they're like, oh, look, bad guys. So just remember to keep that within reason too sometimes. Right. But yeah, they cut to a shot of Finn and Jannah looking at it, which is interesting to me because that means that Finn and Jannah kind of stay together this movie. They're a couple of buddies.
You think a little more than a couple of buddies?
I don't know if they're romantic. I haven't seen any evidence of romance.
Like the end of the movie, there's gonna be like a little Finn.
I mean, that would be adorable, but I don't
Finn
know.
Jr.
I honestly don't know. They haven't shown me any evidence of romance, so I don't like to just assume. I'm not someone, guys, I'm sorry. I'm not someone that just ships people when they're in the same room together. I need some type of evidence to then support said romance.
Yeah.
So right now, I just see them as being buds,
Mm-hmm.
being friends, being stuck in the situation together.
Yeah.
If in the movie they have a romance, I'm totally for it.
We
I'm right
saw
there
them.
with you.
We saw them on the Han Hans. We saw them now
But
in this
not riding
shot.
together on one. So
No,
that's another
no.
thing.
No, but I mean, they're constantly paired.
Right.
So this could be someone from his past that, or his family that he was taken from. It could be something like that, or it could
Sure.
just be someone new they met, and like a Scooby-Doo situation. They're like, all right, her and I are gonna go here, do
Right.
this real quick. Like, I just hope it's not like the same thing with him and Rose. I hope they don't repeat a similar type of beat there. But
Yeah. It's also interesting in that scene with them, there's clearly a gloved hand behind them.
yeah,
So someone is flying the ship that they're on.
yeah, you can see the full helmet. So there's like
Yeah.
a stock Star Wars pilot looking guy or girl just there. That it's the action figure that you buy to complete the set, not because you want it. It's like that type of thing. Yeah, they're just like hit button now. Okay. And I'm curious if that's the Tantive, because what if they're looking out at a giant open window type of thing, like the front of that ship, or if they're on something completely different. But he looks concerned, that's for sure.
He does. He has that look.
He has
The
that
look
John Boyega, I'm very concerned look.
Not even that. The look we talked months ago when we were talking about like what Rose's part would be. I said they'd have a clip of her where she looks concerned at the camera and it just kind of pushes in. Like that's the look.
Yeah.
The look. Speaking of looks, next part is C-3PO with red eyes.
I don't
So
know. What do you
so
think?
far, so far, months ago when we saw this like poster that leaked on Reddit, that we were like, is this real? Is it not real? Everything on that poster has come true so far, including this C-3PO that has like, he's wearing like Chewie's bowcaster. Remember we called him a coat rack, and now he's got red eyes.
Yeah.
So the theory is that they accidentally program him with the wrong.
Whose theory is this?
It's on Reddit. I'm sorry. I should probably give credit to these people, but I just see it all. I see all different things. It's hard to remember.
Well, I don't think you need to give credit to theories because they're theories. It's not like
sure.
Right?
I just feel bad bringing stuff up and not saying who said it.
Like if they made a GIF out of it and then said, then I would say you'd have to give them credit because making GIFs is very hard. So you have to source your GIF creators. It's an art.
Well, speaking of sassy, do you think C-3PO will be sassy with his red eyes? Is he looking to kill people? What does it mean?
I gotta be honest with you. I hope this is very brief. I don't want it like this whole.
I did see DJ Older, right? Daniel Older.
Daniel Jose Older.
So
Yes.
DJ Older, I was right, but he doesn't go
Yeah.
by DJ. I just made that up.
Well, his Twitter handle's DJ Older, so
Maybe that's what it is. He brought this up because in Last Shot he has the droids go evil.
yeah, I remember. But we've seen 3PO become a battle droid, and we've seen that,
Yeah.
And what's with JJ wanting to keep adding red to 3PO? First with that damn arm, and now
The
red eyes.
arm.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I tweeted, "Oh, you probably don't recognize me because of the red eyes, and now you must die."
Maybe he's just super high.
He could be baked. Little droid edibles. That's possible.
Like he just needs to like chill out a little bit. Like he's like really high strung.
He is high strung. Yeah, maybe he got a little toasty for this final one. He's like, I've been around a long time. He's like, let me try something new. And R2's like, I'm gonna leave for a while. You take this. I'll come back.
And by leave a while, I mean like for 3 movies.
I'll
'cause
never
I'm
show
not
up
in it.
ever. Yeah, I'm gonna take a nap in the first one. I'll show you a picture of a map, and then I'll talk to Luke for 3 seconds, and then that's it.
I'm interested to see what people think about the red eyes because even in the clip that they show of the red eyes, he's kind of just sitting there like.
But what does the red eyes do? Did they have to replace his eyes, or is it a filter like thing?
Yeah,
it's a mode. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm very curious because 3PO can function and work with his eyes shut off. Because we've seen that in Empire. Like he had his eyes switched off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope it's not a big thing in the movie. Like I love
like
3PO.
A small bit.
Yeah, I just don't want it to be like a big chunk of the movie. We walk out of the theater and we're like, that 20 minutes
What
with
was
3PO thing. Like that's the Canto bite of this like movie. We did not need that.
Yeah.
Because he already looks like he's doing a lot. Like he's on that skiff with them, and he's like hanging on. Like
Whoa.
he's in the mix. Like I don't know. I'm very curious what this is, but I don't know. Reprogrammed? Maybe. Maybe he's possessed by Palpatine.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no. Staying on the same thread as the red eyes, we then have a laser beam. Kind of looks like Star Killer from TFA, but it's obviously not. My guess is it could be Kijimi, that snowy planet that they go travel to in the first trailer we saw.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, I couldn't get a good grasp on what the environment looked like because I'm just so focused on what the beam is doing.
It looks snowy.
And also, I couldn't really grasp the scale of it because that could have been zoomed in on a small laser beam. Like, what if that was like Kylo Ren, like them putting his helmet back together and he's using like little laser beams? Like, we don't know that that's a giant weapon blast for sure.
It looked like a planet, though.
No, it did. It did. I'm just saying for argument's sake, I really don't know what this is, so I can't guess too much about it. But you hear things I think we reported on this. I don't know where it came from, but people were saying like there was concept art from the TFA that they didn't use with like mini Death Stars on the Star Destroyers.
Right.
So what if these things are just like, and they have like ventral cannons like on the bottom too, and what if they're just firing down everywhere and like maybe there's like 20 of those blasts and it's not just one of those fire when ready giant beams. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm telling you guys, I said this on Monday. I don't know where this movie is going.
Isn't it awesome though?
It's kind of awesome, but kind of not, because I like to have some idea of what I'm getting into. But JJ's like, not this time, Lacey.
Yeah.
Going in fresh.
What if he's like, let's just use half of the actual footage we're gonna use and put the rest in this clip? Because there's other stuff. There's other stuff later I want to talk about.
Yeah.
From this clip that is definitely not polished.
Well, what is polished is Rey's lightsaber skills, where she's slicing through trees, which is the next clip, which is pretty cool. She does like a Thor throw then catch thing. Yeah. But you had an interesting theme or theory about this.
People were like, you're wrong, but yeah.
I actually thought you were pretty right.
So
her face gives it away.
She looks like she's trying to free it, like it's stuck because she's like, like that, like making that face, like when something.
She made the same face in TFA when she's trying to remove that plug to open all the doors.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and it looks like it was one of those things where she's like, "Whoa!" and it goes flying. Like she wasn't purposely trying to cut trees down.
And there's a training droid.
And there's the remote droid, which is I don't know if it's the same one as that was on the Falcon from when Luke was training. That was a little Easter egg in The Force Awakens. Sure. It looked like it had a brown tinge to it. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
it had like a reddish tinge.
Yeah, but I think that's the beginning of the movie. I think that's gonna be kind of a light scene. I don't think it's gonna be very serious. Right. I think sometimes they like to tease, especially with Rey. In past trailers, like the lightsaber stuff, they try to make it seem very serious and epic. But in that clip of her training in The Last Jedi, the very next thing she does is knock the rocks off and go through the caretaker's baskets. It's a funny moment. Right. So I think this is going to be at the beginning of the movie. Like she's not training. I think she's done training. I think this is practice. Like she's just like probably bored, like, oh, this is easy. And then to get stuck and she's like, oh, and it knocks all the trees over and she catches it. And then Leia probably looks at her and like makes a crack or laughs at her, something like that.
Yeah, I agree. It was super cool to see though that she's gotten her skills to a point that it's been, the time jump is there, that she's skilled. She knows what's going on. Yeah, she's still making mistakes and learning along the way, but that her skills have grown to a point that she feels confident in them than she does in the first movie.
And you don't want her to be perfect because it's endearing to see your characters and your heroes have their like flaws and stuff still. Right.
Absolutely. On the other side of that, my boy Kylo Ren is in the next shot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just small character, Kylo Ren. He is in the next shot. He is in a dark...
Is this the strut?
Yes,
Oh,
the fashion
man.
strut.
This is my favorite shot
It is a very, very cool shot.
in the clip.
I've noticed that though with this movie compared to the other movies, there are a lot of really cool out of the box shots that they've had with this movie so far. And
A lot of dark blues.
yeah, and Jess, who saw this trailer at D23, said that this was the coolest shot in the whole thing when she was describing it, and I completely agree. So in the background is that ship that you see flying at Rey in the first teaser, TIE silencer thing.
But not silencer. It's like
it's not silencer.
Yeah, it's a different one. It's had this whatever that one is in the first teaser.
Yes,
with
that one.
Red in it. Yeah.
Yep. That she jumps over.
Yep.
It's that one, and then he's walking from it. He doesn't have a helmet on, and he turns on his lightsaber and kind of drags it along the ground, like such like a pompous dude thing. Like that's what a cocky guy would do.
Yeah.
Like, here I come, drag it on the ground type thing.
Yep.
Super cool.
I think, because I think when Rey's jumping over the tie from the first teaser,
yeah,
I think she's cutting that wing off, and that thing's toast.
Well, if you look at the clip, it looks like something's laying there, so it could be this comes right after that. Because some of the theories are, could this be part of that flash fight thing that we're talking about, where they go from place to place? Because it does look like a desert. It doesn't necessarily look snowy, but it's super dark.
Or this happens before that moment.
Sure.
But either way, and he's not wearing his mask in this, right?
He's not.
Yeah. So
but you can't see his face. That's the interesting thing too, is that they keep showing him, but you can't really get a good look at him.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that scar is healed up anymore.
I'm trying to think of the shot they showed on Friday. It did look like it was pretty healed, but it's still there.
Yeah, the one of him in the cockpit where he's all like, I just took a mud bath. It looks like it's faded, but
I just got beat. That's what it looks like.
I just got whooped. And I mean, I really like that shot. It's weird, like a lot of midnight blues in this in this footage.
Very contrasty to the very orangey reds, yellows of the desert stuff. Yeah, it's like we switch between these two looks.
And it seems like that is like Palpatine's color. You know, and when you saw like the Star Destroyers earlier in the clip, that's all midnight blue, like I was saying. And then you see Kylo in that shot, your first like single villain shot, same blues. And I don't know if that's on purpose to make you like go there and make the connection, but it's interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. So during that shot, we get Palpatine saying "your journey."
Yes.
And then it cuts to Rey and Kylo fighting on what we believe is the Death Star in the middle of the ocean, huge waves. And this is that shot that I think you're going to talk about, where you can't really see his cape in the reflection.
People are flipping out. They are flipping out.
Why?
I don't know. People on Reddit and on Twitter, they're like, what does it mean? You see him? You don't see his cape? That means he's not really there. He's a ghost. I'm like, all right.
It means that Dan in visual effects was like, oh, man.
So I talked to Shannon Moran, who has done visual effects for other Disney movies.
Yes.
And she's like, that's just an editing mishap. It's these types of clips are not finalized. It's probably just they didn't finish it up. And I even said, I'm like, you know, Shannon, is probably this. It's possible that one shot is going to be tossed away, not even used in the movie. So it's purely, it is nothing narrative about the fact that you can't see his cape, because his cape is CGI. Because they're not going to have him fight with a cloth cape because it can get all up in his face and like they got to hit the cut.
Right, but I think he did fight with it on from the Vanity Fair shot. He does have the cape on. I think they're just not getting the flippiness of it that they want, so then they use CG.
They use CG for like Superman and Man of Steel. It was 100% CG cape. Batman also. It's just a thing they do now because they can get the exact look they want. And the audience is none the wiser. So
then the actor doesn't have to be weighed down by this wet cloth. Yeah. And
long story short, so to people flipping out, there is nothing narrative about this. It's purely a visual effects movie making faux pas, whatever, and it's not a final shot. It may not even end up in the movie. So if you see a billion YouTube videos or editorials about why isn't Kylo Ren's cape in the shadow, it's because a visual effects guy was like, oops, forgot to do that.
Or, hey, can we throw the shot in? And Dan from visual effects, I'm just making up a name. I don't know if it's Dan.
Well, it's Jeff, right?
Whatever, Jeff. He was like, hey, JJ, I don't have time to do the whole cape and the reflection. And JJ was like, it's fine. I just want the shot. So that's why they put it in there.
I don't think anyone's going to notice.
No one's going to care.
It's a big shot, and capes aren't a big deal. So they'll be satisfied. Okay.
I gotta say, one of the funniest clips to come out of D23 was IMDb asked JJ something along the lines of like, nowadays everybody has an opinion on Star Wars and where it's going and what's going to happen. And JJ just looks at the camera and is like, you think? And then started laughing. And I was like, this poor guy. But I'm sure he loves it. He loves that kind of stuff.
I'm sure he's a little nervous about the reaction, but
he'll be great. JJ, you're going to be great.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Incredible.
It's a big movie.
Incredible. All right. So then the next part of the trailer, I think, is the most interesting part of the whole teaser, which the screen goes black. We hear some breathing. We hear nears its end from Palpatine. There's Darth Vader. And then there's like these other noises that are mixed in, which is a prime example of like Star Wars sound mixing, which if you think of TFA when Rey and Kylo are fighting each other with their minds, like that is what I think of when I think of sound mixing. Like it's just so perfect. But this clip kind of threw me because I get the Palpatine part. I'm like, oh, nears its end. Ooh. And then you hear Vader and you're like, ooh, Vader. But then there are these other noises that they throw in there. And I knew they do it deliberately, but I don't know what noise it is. And it has a very mystical sound to it. And that's what's throwing me.
First, I don't believe that Palpatine line exists. So
I think had to reshoot it, right? Or they had to shoot it with Ian.
I think this is a new line.
Dang. So he is in the movie.
Yes, I think he is.
But Luke said lines in TFA trailers and wasn't in TFA.
Yeah, he was in TFA.
No, I'm saying like he didn't say those lines in TFA.
No, I know. I'm not necessarily saying this line is going to be in the movie, but this is newly recorded stuff as opposed to the cackle which was
old,
unused, cut from Return of the Jedi. This sounds new to me. Not only does
you can hear it in his voice too.
The voice sounds like a fresh recording, and also like usually some lines with Palpatine like ring a bell. Your journey is at an end, or whatever he says there. That's
nears its end.
That unless that's something from Rebels that I don't remember, which is possible, like World Between Worlds, he maybe says that. I think this is new, and I don't think they would use something from animated. So I think that's another way of JJ lightly telling us like, yes, Ian will be back. I'm just not telling you how. Right. And plus the poster, you obviously see is Palpatine's face.
But John, what is that noise?
So I'm very confused about this because you got Palpatine, you got the noise, and then Vader breathing, and someone claims that they slowed it down, and you hear the word destroy. I don't know.
No, it just sounds to me. It sounds like, and I'm only thinking of this now because my husband's been watching Star Trek like nobody's business lately, and it's like the biggest betrayal to me. But the noise that they. The noise that makes when they appear, when they've been beamed up, that's the noise that it reminds me of in this trailer. So you don't think
it's a whisper? You think it's just a noise?
It's like a high pitch, like.
You don't. What I forget. I just remembered this.
Everyone listening just was like, "Please don't make that noise ever again."
So one of our listeners, I think it was the first guy who recognized us at Celebration. Sam, remember the guy who gives the candies?
Yeah.
The patches.
Yes.
I think it was him who tweeted me this. He's like, "Can you compare these two clips?" And
I have
it was
a patch on my board behind me. Right here.
Yes, and it was that moment in this clip, and then also the moment right after Vader throws Palpatine down the reactor shaft. That
oh,
so is that because think about this, and he might be onto something. It sounded a little different to me, but he may be onto something. First, you hear Palpatine's voice, then you hear that sound. Then you hear Vader's breathing. Is that JJ saying, yes, Palpatine's essence did go into Vader's mask?
It could, because when he gets electrocuted, all he does is go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His thing got fried. But I'm saying this: the sound of when you see the blue when Palpatine goes down, that like weird essence breathing sound from the reactor core is what I think he's talking about here.
I'm going to have to go and listen to it because that might be it. I mean, it would make sense because everything in this trailer so far has been blue. And then when those ships show up, that color of that lightning and that reactor are in the sky.
Yeah. And that would be very interesting to me. And that's the best thing I've heard so far about that sound, because I usually try not to read too much into it, but it's there for a reason. They had to import it in.
Yeah, and especially because they make the screen go black. That is a deliberate like filmmaking. Like, we want you to pay attention to this moment,
right?
Well, so that you're not looking at anything. Yeah.
JJ
and then loves that fade to black.
Loves the fade to black. And then what's next? Dark Rey?
Yeah. So last but not least is Dark Rey. Guys, everyone has been talking about Dark Rey has been trending on Twitter for probably like 4 days now. First of all, come on, guys. Do you really think Rey's going to go dark? There's no way. I like it because it's super cool that they would even do this. I think the lightsaber is super cool.
I'm sure JJ like sees clips of 6-year-old girls hugging Rey at Galaxy's Edge, and he's like, well, I'm going to destroy that. Yeah.
No, I think it's very interesting. Her background, she's in this kind of reflective background similar to Last Jedi. So it makes me think we've talked about this a little bit, that it's a vision of some sort or some type of moment where either she's reflecting on what she could have become, Kylo's reflecting on what she could have become, someone is.
Yeah.
But regardless, like, props to JJ for throwing this in here, because so far JJ's trailers, he always has a moment at the end that you're like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's winning the trailer game, and it had people talking. And I mean, what was it? Like the top 4 trends on Twitter were like Palpatine, Imperial ships, Dark Rey, and something else. So
Dark Rey. Yeah.
So what do you think about Dark Rey, John?
I don't know.
Is she wearing a dress? That's what I want to know, because how is she supposed to fight in a dress?
It looks like one of those tunic things.
Yeah.
Like almost like the Kylo Ren sort of had in TFA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because someone tried to lighten the image, and not James Baney, wise guy. He tweeted, I lighten the image, and he just posted an image of a white page, which is nothing.
Oh, jeez. Of course.
Classic zany Baney. We miss you, buddy. I think, yeah, like most people, and I think we're running a poll we're going to post results for on Monday about what people think it is. But I think it's I think it's a vision without a doubt. I think it's going to be very quick. One of those sequences similar to her vision from TFA, but a little more about the closure of her choices as opposed to what's ahead or her learning about the Force. So I don't think it's much to do. If they were ever going to turn Rey dark, it would have happened in the first movie or second, not the third one.
And they wouldn't have put it in the trailer. That's the other thing, guys. You got to remember, they're putting these moments in here to throw you off.
Yeah.
So if she was really gonna go bad, they wouldn't have put it in the trailer like this.
No, of course not. But that's such a huge moment that that'd be like in the trailer for The Empire Strikes Back, like Vader going, "No, I am your father," and you're like, "What? You just save that for the movie? Like, what are you doing, man?" Yeah. So yeah, I think it's not much at all. And people are gonna be like, "Well, Anakin turned in the third one." I'm like, "Well, that was really the middle of that story. This is the end." And honestly, guys, Rey is our new Luke Skywalker. She's draped in all white in this movie. She is the hero. Let's stop trying to knock Rey down for other reasons. Like, she's the hero. That's it. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's gonna be like a 30-second clip, and they're gonna sell lightsaber toys using it.
And I'm gonna buy them.
Yes. And then we're going
to Speaking of Rey, the music in this trailer is awesome. Bing, John Williams.
Bong, bing.
Yep. And the trailer ends with her theme, but it's just piano. Nothing else. Very, very light. Kind of creepy.
Yeah. I
think that lets you know this is Rey's story, by the way.
It's not piano, because people are going to correct us on this. And it's not
xylophone?
Bells. Glockenspiel or something like that?
Xylophone.
I don't know. I don't think it's xylophone.
Yes, it is. Xylophone.
No, because we said that last time and people yelled at us and said to correct it.
It's xylophone.
It's the Harry Potter bells. I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I
It's
know. They
it's
use it for
Rey's,
everything. They use it for Jurassic Park. Like it's
it's
basically the other instrument that John Williams loves besides French horn.
it's Rey's theme, and it's not menacing. How about that, guys?
It's very childlike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
So, yeah. I mean, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that is. That was
All right,
exciting.
guys. Let us know what you think about our takes on that. Hit us up in the comments with your thoughts, things that you agree with us, things you disagree with, and things that we didn't bring up. We only have a certain amount of time, so let us know your thoughts about the footage and overall, just good stuff. It's good. Like I say, I have no idea where this thing's going, and I dig it. But now it is time to hear from you guys right now on the podcast in Resistance Transmissions. So we're going to send it over to Lacey to see what the situation is this week.
Excellent. Guys, it's time for Resistance Transmissions. So how it works is every week, John puts up a crazy, wacky situation, and then you guys give your answers. The best, most creative ones make it on the show. I haven't read these. I don't know what the situation is. I try really hard. Sometimes I even have to mute our own account so I don't see them. I unmute. Don't worry. I unmute.
Did you block us?
No, I just unmute just for...
Was there a block list situation?
No. Okay, so the situation is, what Star Wars character would you least want to be stuck in an elevator with, and why? I don't count, guys. I'm not a Star Wars character. First off, a lot of you said Jabba the Hutt, and we don't have time to read them all, so to be fair, we are acknowledging all of you. Great answer. Oh, yay! I read that with the least amount of emotion ever. A lot of you said Jabba, and so...
We want to acknowledge
acknowledge you.
Yeah.
All right, so first up is Kyle at Tumbling Saber, and he said Rick Ollie. Ollie. Man, I need to get up on my reading of names.
You need to brush up on your TPM.
Hands down. When the elevator came back on, he'd naturally say, "The power's back." And naturally, I'd have to kill him.
It's so funny. Like, Rick Ollier was like, or George writing it was like, I don't know if the audience is smart enough to understand, so I have to have the pilot announce that the power's back, even though everything came back on. Yeah.
Mello at A Gray Jedi. Hi, Mello. He said, Chewie on Minbin pre-shower scene.
Ooh, stinky wet dog. If you've ever had a wet dog. Yeah.
Yeah, gross. Next is Bryce Woodcock at The Bryce is Right, but right as in write something. He said, young Luke Skywalker, hear me out. Once we got stuck, he'd start talking about how his uncle wouldn't let him go to the Tashi station.
His uncle? You think Owen's hot, Lacey?
Oh.
His uncle.
His uncle. I read it quickly.
Oh.
Just give me a break. I'm on like 5 medications, John.
She is a trooper. We talked about that.
How he has all these dreams of going exciting places, how his father was a hero, his voice is real cute the first few minutes, but after a while...
Got a point.
I actually love young Luke, but when we watched it for our Patreon commentary, I was like, I get it. He's like mad annoying after a while.
Yeah.
No one understands me. Next is Matt at Mighty Mass, and he says, woo her. Whoops. I don't know how to say that. Anyway, the bartender at Mos Eisley Cantina, guy looks like he showers maybe once a year tops. Mama the Hutt probably smells better. Ugh.
Mama the Hutt. Oh boy.
Next
Word does look like he stinks.
Word does look like he smells. That vest probably hasn't been washed a lot. Yeah. Next is Trash Buddha at Ronan Sohai. He says Governor Tarkin because he'd fill the elevator with his foul stench.
Yes.
Nice callback. Well done.
Good job.
Next is More 5150 at More 5150, and they said Misa not want to be an elevator with big bad jacked fish. Misa scared of them big guns and teeth. John, what are you doing? John, stop.
Jacked fish.
It's weird. Next is Thomas Sholin at Thomas Sholin. Oh, is there an extra S? No, Thomas Sholin. He said, General Grievous, with that cough, you're sure to come down with something. I think he gave me something from being in an elevator with him.
Grievous
Yeah.
or Thomas?
No, Grievous. Oh my gosh. Next is Steven and Santa at Steven and Santa. Hi,
A lot
Steven.
of handles getting gotten.
I know. He wrote Chopper ... He may not have invented annoying, but he mastered it. LOL.
Whoa, Rebels burn.
James would be so offended by that answer.
Yeah, I think James really likes Chopper.
Me too.
And Chopper was voiced by Dave Filoni. So is Dave Filoni annoying?
The mysteries of the world that will never have an answer.
Yeah.
Next is Sean Santarude at Rude Cold. How rude, Sean. He wrote, if I was stuck with L3, I think her going on about droid rights would drive me insane. How Lando puts up with her, I'll never know. I can't agree more.
I can't either.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think it's about time people came out and admitted that they didn't like L3 and that it's okay.
It is okay to not like a character. It's normal.
Yeah.
And last but not least is the Norse Awakens at the Norse Awakens. And they said Qui-Gon, because if he brought up anything about midichlorians, I'd have to smack him. Good luck.
Checking my blood for infections, my butt. You're checking my midichlorian count, Qui-Gon.
What a liar. Qui-Gon's a liar.
Big
Guys,
liar.
thank you so much for being part of the show. If you want to be on the show, make sure to follow us at RBATSWNN on Twitter. And then every week, John puts up a crazy, wacky scenario. You guys give your answers, and then I read them live on the show. Back to you, John.
Guys, thank you so much for watching, listening, being a part of the Resistance. If you're new and you have fellow Star Wars fans in your life, share the Resistance broadcast with them, because I guarantee they probably never heard of us. A lot of people don't even know Star Wars podcasts exist, let alone ours. So spread the word. That's how we're growing, thanks to you guys. So I appreciate that. And make sure, if you haven't yet, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can go to resistancebroadcast.com. And that's where you get a lot of your information on where to get our t-shirts, where to subscribe to us, where you can find us as individuals. You can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey. You can find Lacey on Twitter at
Lacey Gillerin.
And you can find James Bainey at Myra Trunks. It's Mirah Trunks. Or at a food truck somewhere in Ohio.
Or on Batu.
Where?
Or on Batu.
Oh, yeah, on Batu. He is on Batu tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be at Batu. So if you're at Galaxy's Edge tomorrow and you see someone who looks like James Bainey,
A wild Bainey appears.
it's James Bainey. So there you go. If you guys want to support us and get additional Resistance Broadcast content, you can go to patreon.com/Resistance Broadcast. We have 5 tiers starting at $2 a month. Gives you page access. And if you join up at the second tier, $5 a month, you can, as you heard earlier in the show, contribute topics that we talk about and a bunch of other stuff, all the way up to tier 5. The higher you go up, the more perks and benefits and stuff like that you get. And we just want to say thank you for all of your support. We're growing on there, and it means a lot to us. And we have a new commentary coming up, right, Lacey?
Yeah, Force Awakens.
Woo, the
Best
Force
commentary.
Awakens! I'm excited to do that one. So thank you all for getting us there. And a very special thank you to our Patreon generals. That's Carmelo, who had a great Resistance transmission before. Brian Shalito, Andrew Stelly, Len Brown, Neil Lowry, who crushed that pod race earlier talking about Kenobi, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, and Val Trichkoff. Thank you all so much. And thank you all for watching and listening. We'll be back on Monday morning, where we're going to talk more Star Wars. That's what we do here. So enjoy your weekends, your long weekend. So you'll be probably off Monday, most of you, on Labor Day. So enjoy your long weekends, and we'll see you again right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.
Bye.